I started college, I was excited about living in the dorm. My dorm was old with creaky floors and musty hallways. On my first night, I couldn't sleep. The wind howled outside, and strange noises echoed through the building. As I tried to settle in, I heard a faint whisper. It was almost like someone was calling my name. Emma. I shook my head, thinking it was just my imagination, but then I heard it again, louder this time. Emma. I got up and checked the hallway. It was empty. I returned to my bed, but the whispering continued. Now, it wasn't just my name. I heard faint cries for help. Help me. The next day, I mentioned it to my roommate, Sarah. She looked pale and confessed that she had heard similar sounds before. Rumor had it that our dorm was haunted by a girl named Lucy, who had mysteriously disappeared years ago. I brushed it off, determined not to let ghost stories scare me. That night, I couldn't sleep again. The whispers started, and this time, they were accompanied by footsteps. My heart raced as I felt a cold breeze even though the windows were closed. I pulled the blanket over my head, trying to block out the sounds. Suddenly, the whispers turned into screams. My heart pounded as I peeked out from under the blanket. I saw a shadowy figure standing at the foot of my bed. The figure pointed towards the closet. Trembling, I slowly got up and approached the closet. As I opened the closet door, the figure disappeared, but the screams grew louder. Inside the closet, I found an old, dusty diary. It belonged to Lucy. The diary detailed Lucy's last days, describing how she felt trapped and scared. The final entry was a plea for help. A chill ran down my spine. I realized that Lucy's spirit was still trapped, seeking help. I decided to perform a small ritual to help Lucy find peace. I lit candles and read a prayer from the diary. As I finished the prayer, the room grew warmer, and the whispers stopped. I felt a sense of calm. I hoped that Lucy had finally found peace. From that night on, the strange noises stopped, and Sarah and I were able to sleep soundly. Before we get into the next story, if you come for the first time, please make sure to subscribe to a channel and press the bell icon for upcoming scary stories. We need your support. Please share the stories with your friends and family. Thanks. I'm a night owl, often studying late at the college library. The library is huge, with tall shelves and dim lighting. One night, as I was buried in my books, I noticed a girl sitting at a table across from me. She was reading a thick old book, her hair covering her face. I didn't think much of it until I realized that the girl never seemed to turn a page. Curious, I glanced at her periodically. She was always in the same position, staring at the book. I decided to approach her, thinking she might need help. "Hey, are you okay?" I asked softly. The girl didn't respond. I reached out to tap her shoulder, but my hand went right through her. I stumbled back, my heart pounding. The girl looked up and I saw that she had no eyes, just dark, empty sockets. I ran out of the library, my mind racing. I told my friends about the ghostly encounter, but they laughed it off, thinking I was playing a prank. Determined to find out more, I did some research and discovered a tragic story. Years ago, a girl named Mary had been a brilliant student at the college. She spent most of her time in the library, studying late into the night. One night, she had a terrible accident and was found dead in the library the next morning. Since then, students reported seeing her ghost, still trying to read her book. I decided to visit the library again, this time during the day. I found the book Mary had been reading, covered in dust. Inside, I found notes she had written, detailing her desire to succeed and her fear of failure. I felt a deep sadness for Mary. I borrowed the book and read it, feeling a connection to her. That night, I returned to the library, hoping to help Mary move on. I lit a candle and placed it beside the book. "Mary, you can rest now," I whispered. "Your hard work is not forgotten." The air around me grew warmer, and I felt a gentle breeze. I looked up and saw Mary's ghost smiling at me before fading away. From that night on, I never saw Mary's ghost again. The library felt less eerie, and I felt a sense of peace knowing I had helped her find rest. It was the fall semester of 1998 at Oakwood University, a small college nestled in the rolling hills of New England. The campus was renowned for its stunning architecture, ivy-clad buildings, and peaceful surroundings. Among these buildings stood Old Willow Hall, a decrepit dormitory that had long been abandoned and was now the subject of many ghost stories whispered among students. Old Willow Hall was constructed in the early 1900s and had a rich history, some of which was steeped in tragedy. Legend had it that a student named Emily Grayson had died there under mysterious circumstances in the 1920s. Ever since then, strange occurrences were reported by the few who dared to enter. Lights flickered, cold drafts chilled the hallways, and eerie whispers echoed through the empty rooms. Most students avoided Old Willow Hall, especially after dark. However, my friends and I, Mike, Sarah, Jake, and Emma, decided to investigate the old building for ourselves. We were intrigued by the stories and sought a thrilling adventure to break the monotony of our college life. On a chilly October night, armed with flashlights and a Ouija board, we made our way to Old Willow Hall. The building loomed ominously against the moonlit sky, its windows dark and empty, like soulless eyes watching our every move. We entered through a side door that Jake had managed to pry open. The air inside was musty and thick with the smell of decay. "Are we sure about this?" Sarah whispered, her voice trembling slightly. "Come on, it's just an old building," Mike replied, trying to sound confident. "We'll be in and out. Just a quick look around." We made our way to the main hall, where we set up the Ouija board on a dusty old table. We sat in a circle, placed our hands on the planchette, and began to ask questions. "Is anyone here with us?" Emma asked softly. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the planchette began to move slowly, spelling out, "Yes." Jake laughed nervously. "All right, who's messing with us?" "It's not me," Sarah insisted, her eyes wide with fear. We continued asking questions, and the answers grew more unsettling. The spirit claimed to be Emily Grayson and said she was trapped in the building. As we conversed, a sudden chill filled the room, and the temperature seemed to drop by several degrees. "I think we should stop," Sarah said, her voice barely audible. "Just a few more questions," Mike urged. "Emily, why are you here?" The planchette spelled out, "Murder." We exchanged horrified glances. We had heard the stories but never truly believed them until now. Suddenly, the room grew even colder, and the sound of footsteps echoed in the hallway. "Who's there?" Jake called out, but there was no response. The footsteps grew louder, closer, until they stopped just outside the door. We held our breath, our eyes fixed on the doorway. Then the door creaked open slowly, and we saw a shadowy figure standing there. She was dressed in a long white gown stained with blood. "Leave now," she whispered, her voice filled with sorrow and anger. Panic surged through us. We scrambled to our feet and bolted for the exit. As we ran through the dark hallways, doors slammed shut on their own, and the whispers grew louder, filling our ears with haunting cries. We finally burst out of the building, gasping for breath and shivering with fear. We never spoke of that night again. We avoided Old Willow Hall and warned others to do the same. But the legend of Emily Grayson lived on, and each year, new students would hear the tale and dare to enter, only to be met with the same chilling experiences. To this day, Old Willow Hall stands as a reminder of the tragic past and the restless spirit that still roams its halls, forever searching for justice and peace.